update the job description for the marketing manager.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been moved by Marietta and seconded by Ian. If all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and thank you, Errol, for your job, your great service.
Thank you.
Item number 7, discussion and for possible action, approval of proposed compensation increase of $2,500 annually for marketing manager. Kyle?
So this is my recommendation based off of the money that we'll be saving from taking the newsletter back in-house, as well as the additional duties that he's been doing at the convention center and the added required educational aspect. I'm recommending a $2,500 annual increase for that position.
Oh, it sounds like a bargain if it's $500 a month, and that would be $6,000 a year, Kyle.
Well, what a deal for us.
Right, I appreciate that, thank you. Any discussion as far as this compensation increase? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion of approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion made by Brian and seconded by Marietta. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Again, thank you, Errol. You sound like a bargain.
Well, thank you, I'm just happy.
He definitely over-delivered.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Number 8, discussion and for possible action, review and approval of updated job description for White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Director. And I will take this one as chair. As we were doing the updates on the 2 positions that have been approved for the updates, it occurred to me that we have not updated Kyle's position with the description, and it's been much more robust as far as our expectations and the delivery of things since 2018. And so there's been quite a bit of back and forth on reviewing the job description and the process. And Kyle, obviously you've been involved with this job description update, correct?
Correct.
And do you feel it's reflective of what you've been doing?
Yeah, you know, updating these things takes quite a bit of time and thought, and so I appreciate, you know, what Mackenzie has put into this. It absolutely reflects this position and, you know, what this position can do for this community. So, yeah, I appreciate the update.
Okay, so it's reflective of what the job is.
Correct.
Okay, any discussion from board members? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the updated job description.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Ian and seconded by Kurt. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. I feel good that we're closing out the year with getting some housekeeping done.
Absolutely.
Number 9, and this is discussion and for possible action, approval to enter into employment agreement contract with White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Director Kyle Horvath and approval of said contract. Well, first I would like to, on this, to thank Mackenzie for her creating this. This is a contract is usually this is what we probably should have been doing since 2018 as far as this agreement, as far as the executive director, and we're just finally catching up with the times. At this point, what's really has occurred in the last 4+ years is our grants and moving towards destination development has accelerated under Kyle's leadership. And we are thankfully the recipients of the destination development first round. There have been 6 communities or organizations selected, and out of 16 applications, and we'll be in the first 3 of the first cohort. And this is, it's a long relationship. with this, and we need consistency, and we need our employees to know that the commitment to them, because it's going to be an extremely, it's much more work coming down the pike for them and the board. But we need to be in sync with the expectations of where we're moving as a group, and the board direction of making this our area a destination. So thanks again to Mackenzie for doing this. Kyle, have you been able to review this, and what are your thoughts?
Yes, I've reviewed it in full. I certainly agree to all the terms. I appreciate having the safety and security to move forward from this point, because I feel like you're right, Caroline, there's a lot of really exciting things that are going to just really be picking up pace here over the next 2 years at least, if not 5 years. And I think it would be absolutely tragic and detrimental to the community to try to stop the momentum at this point and steer the ship in a different direction. And so between the destination development, all the SNPLMA grants, the upcoming eclipse, things like that, I think it's going to do the community well. Just knowing that, hey, things are going to keep moving forward, for the terms of this contract. I like I said, I just appreciate being able to offer to the community consistency in what tourism will be able to contribute to it.
All right, and as with Travel Nevada, what they have reported in 2021, that White Pine County received almost $51 million in tourism spending in 2021, and those are just overnight guests. Those are not people who camp out just and that we don't collect the room rent from. They camp out at Great Basin National Park. So 15% of our employment in White Pine County is currently involved in hospitality, and we certainly hear a lot about diversifying our economy, and we have that ability with destination development to really push this so that we can make it more robust on developing our and diversifying our economy, which I feel pretty confident we all feel that is a great opportunity for us. We're one of the few when Fred Steinman, when I talked to him from UNR about this percentage, he's very pleased about what's happened in White Pine County with the diversification, because some of our neighbors are, they have one industry, and we have several industries that are keeping us a little more balanced, which is wonderful for everyone. Is there any discussion about the approval on this employment agreement contract? And just one last thing before that, is this Kyle will remain an employee, and he's an employee with a contract. So this is not a contract position. This is an employee with a contract, so that they're very different. Any further discussion or comments?
I'm excited to see Kyle get this and keep this momentum going in the future, because he's done so much, and I'm excited to see what's going to come up in the next 3 to 4 years with all this funding.
Great.
Thank you, Brian.
I feel that he's done just an outstanding job, and we're fortunate to have him in White Pine County.
Thank you, Marietta.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to offer a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Madam Chairman, that we go ahead and approve this contract for Kyle Horvath for the contract instructions.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it sounded like a Brian and an Ian, right?
Give it to Brian.
Okay, so it's been moved by Marietta and seconded by Brian. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you and congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you, everyone.
Then item number 10, discussion and only update on the RFP process regarding Bristlecone Convention Center renovations. And I'll turn this over to Kyle at this time.
Perfect. This is just a quick update. We did have our virtual tour last week. with all of the interested organizations. There were 4 people on the Zoom call, from companies from Utah, Nevada, all over the place. We did a video walkthrough of the facility and then sent blueprints out to follow up with floor plans and things like that. The RFPs are due tomorrow, and I believe we'll be getting two proposals in. I followed up with 2 other companies, or with 2 companies that were on the Zoom call that had some additional questions, and they seemed really interested in proposing the project. So again, we stuck with the RFP. It was very technology based in its tour, lighting, aesthetics, ADA with the bathrooms, and then incorporating some more kind of permanent art and landscaping in the front of the building, but that certainly wasn't the main part of it. It was everybody was really excited about the technology aspect. So anyway, that's kind of the update. We'll see what we get tomorrow, and then we'll send it out to the board for review.
And so this would be for board approval, or bringing the parties together with a meeting with the board in January, is that what you're anticipating?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think that'll, once they come in, it'll get plenty of time for the board to be able to review it and come up with questions, and then we can have them on the agenda.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. And again, I'd like to thank McKinsey for the RFP. That's not something that we do very often, so I appreciate that very much. All right, that's a discussion only item, and that will be followed up in January. Item number 11, discussion only update on Travel Nevada's Destination Development Grant status and timeline. Kyle, would you like to take this one?
Absolutely. So we had our initial meeting with the 6 other destinations that were, or the 5 other destinations that were chosen for this, and met the team from all the different consulting firms that are going to be working, who we're going to be working with, and kind of what I'm going to show today, which is the timeline for this process. And so right after we get back, we're going to hit the ground running. I've got an initial meeting with the team that's going to start with asset mappings, and of course we've already got the project going with Brandon Stocksdale and the National Park Service with our asset mapping. So it's not just going to be the recreation stuff, it's going to be our partners, it's going to be all of our assets, things like that. And then you can see, as we go through on the scroll here, we're in cohort 1. And just to kind of remind everybody what the proposal was, it was to create a holistic and connected feeling visitor experience as we navigate through White Pine County. So as opposed to having, 5 different communities, different branding, different signage, different, everybody kind of in their own silo, how do we make it all feel the same? How does the train and recreation work together seamlessly? How does McGill and Baker somehow feel connected? Taking all of these puzzle pieces that we have and just helping us, again, create a more holistic approach. And so that would include kind of a market study, which I'm really excited about, where they'll actually do surveys and assess what people's impressions are currently of our destination in the market that we're marketing to see where we can improve, where we could, with our messaging, things like that. Signage is going to be a big thing. It's a really exciting project because it's going to take all of the moving parts in this community to do great things, bring them into the room like we have been doing over the last 5 years, and really create this community-driven vision for where we want to be 10 years from now, and how we're going to get there, and actually present a roadmap and a blueprint of phases on how to get there. And that could be creating infrastructure, that could be different marketing benchmarks, that could be policies and procedures, or things at the city or county level. And so it really is going to bring the community together. And I can't say enough, a community-driven blueprint on where we want to go. So it's not just working with tourism, even though we were the organization that submitted the proposal, it's really working with the entire community. So all of you should consider yourself part of this in any capacity, because each one of you do something that you're passionate about that contributes to the community. And so I'm really excited about this. I mean, this is one of those things where when you're done at the end of, and we'll get all the way down here, we've got 32 weeks ahead of us working with all these different consulting firms, marketing companies, things like that. And yeah, so anyway, you've got the timeline there. I would love to keep all of you included, even no matter what happens in January with the board. This is something we should all be excited about. And it's going to be something that's really going to drive decision making at all levels in this community for the next 10 years.
So
And
could
so,
you,
I was going to say the first week of January, as soon as I get back from New Year's, we've got our first meeting. So,
and, so are you, asking so that the board and any other members would be involved in some of these calls, or will they be community meetings?
they will be community meetings. And so in this schedule here, they've actually scheduled in community meetings and site visits where they're all going to be coming out. This is not done remotely. This is a very intimate project where the consultants are going to be in White Pine County pounding the pavement with us. That's when we'll be having those big community meetings.
Okay. Could you explain, the difference between letters of support and partnership?
Yes, so we actually submitted quite a bit for this plan, letters of support and letters of partnership. And so supporting organizations have been organizations that we've worked with to get up to this point. They put on events. They support creating the White Pine County experience. They're supportive of the direction we're going. They may not be financial supporters, or maybe even putting in, say time outside of putting on their events. They're friends of tourism. We'll put it that way. And then partnering organizations would take a little bit more of a role where we're in lockstep. This would be the city, the county, major partners like Great Basin National Park, the railroad, state museums, organizations like that, Great Basin Heritage Area, where they've actually, put money and skin in the game up to this point, and are driving partners, So there's a lot of room for engagement at all different levels. There's even room for engagement for just showing up to the excitement parties and community meetings and just hearing about the progress. Even that is showing support. But in regards to designating the two different organizations, it's different levels of involvement. And then when you get into partnerships, it gets more into time and financial.
Okay. And do you recall how many partners we had that submitted partnership letters?
I think we had 10 or 12 partnership letters, and we probably had an equal amount of support letters as well. The community that came to the two meetings, the kickoff meeting as well as the follow-up meeting, all left very excited with a feeling of promise that this was going to be as impactful as they've been selling it. And a willingness to be involved. So we didn't even have to ask twice for any letter from any organization that wanted to be a part of this.
Well, thank you. Do we have any questions from board members on the destination development? I see this as a lot of additional work in to just add it on to your regular day job, but exciting.
It's going to be. It's not even going to feel like work because this is the stuff I really enjoy doing.
Do we have any questions or discussion on this? Anyone? And what is the pool of money on this? What did Travel Nevada put aside?
So after the 32 weeks, the 6 organizations that went through this will have a pool of $2 million, and that pool will be an annual pool that will help with implementing the stuff that comes out in the roadmap.
Wow. But you just have time, right?
Right now, this first part is just time. But the promise is even outside of that $2 million pool of money, that they're also gonna be seeking other funding sources for these projects. So it's not just a to-do list, but it's a true roadmap of, now it's time to implement this benchmark. Here's where you go get money for that. If you need help, let us know. And so it really is a partnership at the state level with all of their resources, to come up with a plan and to help fund it.
Well, I did, as far as timing with, I believe 2024 is when the anticipated time for construction of the downtown roadway with that infrastructure project with water. So this sounds like it'll be concurrent, actually, things that we're doing.
It will be, and I can only imagine that the downtown remodel is gonna be a major part of our to-do list, especially with Main Street, the facade improvement incentive program, recruiting businesses, supporting the businesses. It's, the downtown remodel is gonna be a big asset and boom for us, and so it will, of course, be worked into the 10-year plan.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Any discussion? Anyone, any questions?
This is just outstanding, really fantastic.
It is indeed. Thank you.
And with Marianne, I'm really excited to see this happen.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's move on to item 6, discussion, information items. A, Executive Director's Report, in case you didn't think you've talked enough. Then marketing, events and facilities.
Cool. Errol, if you don't mind, I'll go first. Just.
Okay.
I will start off the whole thing in January is when we do our convention center event report. We've always done that annually, and so with the public comment requesting that information, we do that annually in January. So you will see that report. But going over the last month, we of course have kept up our monthly meetings with the agency. They're working right now, both working with influencers. Some will be coming to Fire and Ice. Some will be coming during the ice fishing derby weekend. And then we've also got a couple influencers that are coming out to do potentially some snow and winter video production as well. Nothing, we haven't signed any contracts and nothing set in stone. So I just want to say that we're working on bringing out at least 3 influencers over the next month for winter activities. Met with the Visit USA Parks for another co-op for the Eclipse promotion. We'll talk a little bit later about the awards that we got from Travel Nevada, but we're kind of whittling down a deliverables versus price tag with them right now. They focus typically on national park promotion, things like that. We have worked with them in the past. I got a initial proposal from Brian Armand and Courtney Cobb about a gravel race out here in the summertime in partnership with Great Basin Trails Alliance. The initial proposal had some kinks in it, so we're going back, not completely to the drawing board, but we're negotiating back and forth on that. And I look forward to presenting a proposal to the board on what that would look like. Last month, I had my first meeting as an official committee member on the Travel Nevada State Marketing Committee. And so we went over what the marketing plan is going to be for Travel Nevada over the next year. What markets they were going for, how they were going for it. I think the benefit of being on this board is it's going to bring us a lot of ideas between Errol and I about what Travel Nevada is doing, ways that they're thinking outside of the box that maybe we hadn't thought of before. And there was quite a bit of that, especially with them hitting up the more major cities like Chicago, Midwestern cities like Detroit, and trying to get more Michigan and Minnesota to be familiar with Nevada and what its products are. So anyway, first meeting on that one, that went really, really well. And like I said, I think it's going to spawn a lot of creativity in our market. We did have our first Great American Eclipse planning meeting. We had all the land managers, city, County, Main Street, that was all there initially. There was a ton of excitement about the potential on this, and a lot of ideas that were spinning around. So we're trying to schedule another follow-up meeting for the 11th of January, and that'll just kind of keep going. The plan is that we don't want the eclipse to be the only event going on in Ely at that time. You know, so what are we doing leading into the eclipse? What are we doing for the days following the eclipse? Right now, we've already have been taking reservations in Baker over that time. Places are already starting to, book for that time frame. So, guided hikes, photography classes, concerts, specials and branded things in our downtown businesses to kind of help with it. When we went over the millions of dollars, the tens of millions of dollars of impact to some of these communities in the last eclipse, we would be absolute fools not to try to capitalize on this event that's happening in October of next year. So January 11th will be the follow-up meeting with that one, and we will just keep working towards how we're going to create that experience. And we did get a grant from Travel Nevada for that, and in Main Street also got a grant from Travel Nevada for that. I did have my meeting with Bindle Stiff Tours out of Las Vegas, and we worked on an itinerary. It looks like this fall they will be marketing our very first mountain bike road trip tour that we'll be spending 3 days in Ely, 2 days in Caliente, 3 days in Ely, staying at our lodging properties, and riding all of our trails. So the word has gotten out, and these tour companies out of Vegas are now starting to look at breaking into mountain bike road trips. And I just want to thank Melissa and Bindle Stiff for taking a chance on us, and I think it's going to be a really good relationship. So under accomplishments, our room tax collection was similar between November of 2021 and November of 2022. We did have one property not report, so we will kind of see a more accurate result when that report comes in. Had multiple meetings since my appointment on the Nevada Bicycle Coalition, but we are working with them, and the main mission of the Bicycle Coalition now is trying to unite all the smaller organizations that deal with trails and cycling related issues, and bringing them together and kind of feeding resources and pumping them up from the grassroots level. So we'll keep updating with what goes on with them and how that influences White Pine County. Our new billboard design has been installed at the top of Murray Canyon, so definitely drive up there and check it out. And we had our phase 1 assessment through PullPack for our HR, and that was essentially what came out of the new job description and the new policies and procedures that we're working on now with the field. So facade improvement incentive program, we're still looking for funding for that, in addition to what tourism is willing to set aside out of our budget. And we're just continuing to work with Brandon Stocksdale with the National Park Service with the community asset map. Very excited, I just got all of our trails in our wilderness areas. So Friends of Nevada Wilderness sent me all of their map trails, and so this would be non-motorized, including not available for bicycles either. This would be horseback and hiking only, but through all of our wilderness areas. And so that was something that we were missing until going to that trails conference in Reno, and I was able to connect with Friends of Nevada Wilderness. And Travel Nevada last month brought 18 European tour agents out to Ely for 2 days. This was the first fam tour that Travel Nevada has brought out since the COVID pandemic. And it went so well that they've already booked 3 more fam tours starting in March to be coming out to Ely in 2023. So other than it being bone-chillingly cold out there when they were here, they all had an amazing time, and thanks to Yennefer at Travel Nevada for bringing in everybody out. So I'm glad that went well, and look forward to 3 more trips out here. So moving on to grants, we had the top 3 are the grants that we already were awarded, that we're working on currently. At a magazine advertising for $3,000 for a $6,000 project. seasonal event card mailer, which is going out at the first of the year, probably the middle of the month here, but that's, Errol has been asking for everybody to send their events for 2023. We got a great response, and so that you'll see that annual event mailer going out as part of that grant. And then the horseback trail riding content, Bill Wagers has sent us a ton of great photos, and we've been working with BLM and Forest Service on the trails. We're still looking for a designer to come up with the rack card to present all of that, and then once all that information is gathered together, then we'll follow it up with our social media and our website update. But the new grants that we just were awarded at the beginning of December is $5,000 for $10,000 worth of marketing of the Shellraiser Music Festival. Errol and I had a great meeting with one of the band agents that is, well, pretty iconic in the music industry, and he just let loose on all kinds of ideas that we could work on, you know, getting bands involved, doing some of these really fun, organic campaigns that